In a hadith mentioned in Bukhari and Muslim, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, whoever fasts Ramadan out of faith and in the hope of reward, his previous sins will be forgiven. In another narration, he mentions that whoever spends the nights of Ramadan in prayer, meaning he establishes Taraweeh, out of faith and in hope of reward, his previous sins will be forgiven. So if you are engaged in Qiyam al-Layl during the month of Ramadan, or if you are fasting throughout the month of Ramadan, you have this honor and this blessing from Allah that all of your past sins, big or small, can be forgiven. Can you imagine any blessing greater than this? This is a chance to wipe out the slate clean and start over, start fresh. And we must, as Muslims and as practicing Muslims, realize the blessing and the benefit in this month. Laylatul Qadr, the night of decree, also falls in this month, a night which is equal to 1,000 months. 1,000 months meaning 83 years and 4 months. In Surah Al-Qadr, chapter 97, verses 1 to 5, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions,
إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ سَلَامٌ هِيَ حَتَّى مَطْلَعِ الْفَجْرِ.
Verily we have sent it, this Qur'an, down in the night of Al-Qadr. And what will make you know what the night of Al-Qadr is? The night of Al-Qadr is better than 1,000 months, meaning 1,000 months of worship. One night of worship is equal to 1,000 months of worship. Therein descend the angels and the Ruh, Jibril alayhi salam, by Allah's permission with all decrees. All that night there is peace, meaning the goodness from Allah to the believers, until the break of dawn. So this is a special night, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ asked us to look for this night, not just the 27th, as is the wide opinion that a lot of people just pray on the 27th of Ramadan. No, it is any of the odd nights in the last 10 days of Ramadan. The 21st, 23rd, 25th, 27th, 29th, any of these nights. Further, in a hadith mentioned in al-Nisai and Musnad Imam Ahmad, the Prophet ﷺ said, there has come to you Ramadan, a blessed month which Allah has enjoined you to fast, during which, number one, the gates of heaven are opened, the gates of hell are shut, the rebellious devils are chained up, the shayateen are chained up, and in it is a night which is better than 1,000 months. So he told us 4 points which are the 4 virtues of this month. And he said, and whoever is deprived of its goodness is indeed deprived. What an unfortunate person it would be that the month of Ramadan begins and ends and this person hasn't a clue what has just gone by. This is a time for great worship and great ibadah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is opened up the gates of Jannah for us. Who is going to come and take Jannah? Who is going to step forward and ask for Jannah? Angel Jibril alayhi salam mentioned that in a hadith that may Allah rub his nose in the dust, one to whom Ramadan comes and he does not attain Allah's forgiveness. That what an unfortunate person. May his nose be rubbed in the dust. A person who saw Ramadan beginning to end and he could not seek forgiveness from Allah. Allah did not forgive him. What must this person have done? We should think about these things. Because all of these ahadith, they are something for us to reflect upon. Not just read through, but think about it. What kind of person would it be who would pass through Ramadan and he is still not forgiven? Meaning he has not even tried. He has not even tried to make an attempt to ask or seek Allah's forgiveness. And what if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to take his life away right after Ramadan? What a sad and sorry state would it be for that person? Kullu nafsin zaikatul maut. Every soul shall taste death. Who has the guarantee? Who has the guarantee when he will die? So this is something for us to take advantage of this time and make the most of this month. In a hadith of Imam Ahmad, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, At every breaking of the fast, Allah has people whom He redeems from hellfire. Every evening when the fast is being broken at the time of Maghrib, there are people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes from the hellfire. People who were destined for hellfire, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes them out because of their fasting. Because of their fasting. Every single evening this happens. In another narration, it is mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah has people whom He redeems every day and night in Ramadan, and every Muslim, every day and night has a prayer that is answered. So this is a time to not only seek protection from the hellfire, but to have your prayers answered. Every Muslim, he has a prayer during the day or the night which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer. So go ahead and ask what you wish to ask. This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. We should ask our family members, our friends, whoever is close to us, to also follow upon this. Brother, this is the time to do it. Let's not waste this time. Let's not waste this time doing silly things that we do all year round in any case. Let's use this time to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In a hadith mentioned in Saheeh Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever fasts Ramadan, then follows it with 6 days of Shawwal, it will be like fasting for a lifetime. In another narration mentioned in the books of Imam Ahmad, it is mentioned, whoever fasts Ramadan a month like 10 months and fasts 6 days after Al-Fitr, he will complete the year. So this is like fasting for a year. If you fast Ramadan and right after Eid al-Fitr fast for another 6 days, it will be like you have fasted for the entire year. Similarly, according to a hadith mentioned in the books of Abu Dawood, the Holy Prophet ﷺ mentioned, whoever prays Qiyam al-Layl or Taraweeh prayer with the Imam until he finishes, it will be recorded for him that he spent the whole night in prayer. Look at this, blessing upon blessing, ease upon ease. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this so easy for us to earn good deeds. And it is rightfully said that what an unfortunate person would be that he cannot take advantage of these things. In another hadith mentioned in Al-Bukhari and Muslim, narrated by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ said that Umrah in this month has the same reward of Hajj. And in another narration he mentioned that Umrah in this month has the reward of Hajj with the Prophet ﷺ. Imagine, this is the great blessing and reward of this month of Ramadan. Further, it is strongly recommended that in this month we study the Qur'an and study it even in a group. Because according to a hadith of Bukhari and Muslim, Jibril alayhi salam used to meet the Prophet ﷺ every night in the month of Ramadan and study the Quran with him. In hadith mentioned in the books of Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah, the Prophet ﷺ said that whoever gives iftar to one who is fasting will have a reward like his without detracting from the fasting person's reward in the least bit. Again, another blessing. If you feed a person who is already fasting, arrange for his iftar in the way that you would do iftar, not that you give him something that is throwaway stuff. No, the same kind of iftar you would have, normal meal, which is considered an okay, an average good meal. If you give the same kind of meal to a person who is fasting, the same reward you will also get. Again, another blessing. So much so that every single good deed that is done in this month, the reward for it is multiplied 10 to hundreds of times from the normal reward that you would get throughout any of the months of the year. These are just some of the virtues of the holy month of Ramadan that we can avail, that we can take benefit from. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks not at the quantity of our acts of worship, He looks at the quality and the sincerity of our acts of ibadah. How sincere are we in our acts of worship? Are we doing these acts for the sake of Allah, or are we doing these acts for our own sake or to please other people? And the best of deeds which we can do in this month, the Holy Prophet ﷺ mentioned in a hadith that the best of deeds is praying at the right time. Your 5 obligatory prayers, praying them on their prescribed time is one of the best deeds that any person can do. Similarly, we are also encouraged to have good manners in this month in particular. If a person wants to fight with you, if a person wants to get angry with you or upset with you, just tell them, I am fasting twice. Brother, I am fasting. Brother, I am fasting. And see if he backs off or not. Because if he does not, then the sin is entirely on him. Similarly, according to Hadith Qudsi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that if we are not going to refrain from vain talk and any of the bad deeds, then our fasting is no good. Our fasting is just like we are starving ourselves. So Allah is not in need of us starving ourselves if we are not going to stop ourselves from any of the bad deeds or from vanities, vain talk, so on and so forth. So we have to understand what is the idea behind fasting. Why are we fasting? What is the purpose of this month of Ramadan?